The R word, people made it edgy. It wasn't that edgy before. You would see it in media all the time. I don't think retard's that edgy. I think F slur's edgy. I think N slur's edgy, obviously. Obviously. I'd be crazy to not think that. R word, it's like saying dumbass or idiot, in my opinion. In my opinion. And as I said, I want to tap the tweet again. Tap, 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 tap this tweet. Tap, 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 tap. Point to the sign. This is true. And the other neurodivergence in my replies agrees. Dumbsville. Well-known autistic YouTuber. Literally, yeah, autistic. Well-known YouTuber. It says this. I find it crazy how neurotypicals and even some neurodivergents who may or may not have been brain rotted by neurotypicals in an attempt to fit in, get mad on our behalf and act like they speak for every neurodivergent individual. I haven't seen this for any other slur. It's insane. Very fucking true. This is so fucking base. If someone's like, Josh, I really don't like you saying the R word or whatever, I won't. And I've even asked people if they mention that they're neurodivergent in whatever way. I will ask like, hey, I say I say the R word a lot. Do you mind if I, say it, or would you prefer if I just don't say it in front of you? And sometimes there's been people who say, I prefer if you don't say it, and then I don't. Like, it's not like integral to my vocabulary. Like, I can't stop myself from saying the word. And then some people say it's chill. And like, as I said, 90% of people have said it's chill. There's only been like 1 or 2 people that they're not chill with, and I won't say it. So it's not like about me being like edgy or a piece of shit, or I don't care about the neurodivergent community. Obviously, if you've seen any of my tweets or anything I've said, it's clearly not the case. I have the whole Truly Autistic channel that I made that isn't active now, but it has a lot of videos, talking in earnest about it. So yeah, that's just my stance. But I guess all of these non-autistic people on the H3 podcast can just, I get it. But like, to me, low-key it rubs me the wrong way, because I don't like that the decision has been like kind of made for us. Like, majority of people who get offended by the R slur are not neurodivergent. They're just normal people who get offended on our behalf. It's another instance, because the trouble with autism is that people infantilize it and then talk for you. Like, when I was a teenager, my parents would talk for me, even though I could talk for myself, But they just thought they were helping out. And like, that happens a lot with autistic people, especially like adults and teenagers. Is so annoying. Turning retard into a slur is a continuation of that, where it's like, decisions are being made for us. But I get it is on a global scale. Like, there could have been like, I guess, I don't even know how it came about that the R word turned into a slur. But yeah. And a lot of people in chat are agreeing. So I could do a poll and it'd probably be 90% as well. Just like, I said in the tweet. But again, if you are offended by that word and you consider it a slur and you are neurodivergent, I'm going to respect that, right? Because that word has been used to degrade neurodivergent people a lot. Now, for me, when people are like, oh, you're autistic or whatever, it typically hasn't been accompanied with like, you're retarded, but it has been used in that way towards some people. I think other people are like more affected by the word retard too. Like, I would imagine Down syndrome people probably, that word would be way more offensive to them than an autistic person. I can see that being a thing, because like, you can visually see, so they probably do get called a retard a lot more, and that is bad. But and it's also about the context you use it in too. Like, yeah, if I go up to a Down syndrome person, I'm like, ha, look at that retarded downy face, like, that is fucked up. But if I say Keemstar's a retard, that's like, come on.
I feel like an uptick recently. I've noticed that as well.
Especially on Twitter. Like, people are using it in like viral tweets. And it's just like, we don't use that.
Yeah, I phased it out a while ago, and I'm glad.
We don't use that. Speak for yourself. Speak for your fucking self. We, as the people we don't use that. We don't use that. What? Dude, just the whole, it's not about the word, but it's about the whole idea of decisions being made for the neurodivergent community by people who are not neurodivergent. And that whole concept from like, making curriculums for not neurodivergent people, etc., etc., etc. Every instance of that just pisses me off. So this is another instance of that.
Back then we leaned on that word a lot.
It's very virtue signaling, I feel. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to take the time to understand mental illness and like autism and all that, And I'm not saying they're doing this. I don't know what Ethan or the crew knows or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, with the general concept of people getting mad at the RSLUR, right? A lot of people are like, and they don't do this intentionally, I guess, but this is what it feels like. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna not say retard, and then that's my stamp of approval that I'm not ableist, or that I support the neurodivergent. I'm not gonna actually bother to look up, like, what their mental differences are, or, like, learn anything about the way they think, or, you know, what they deal with, or whatever, which they're not obligated to, right? But I just think it's a little disingenuous to not do that, but then to be like, yeah, I'm supportive, I don't say retard, you know? Again, this is all, like, when people do this, it's all out of ignorance. Their heart is in the right place. Like, if you don't want to say retard, your heart is in the right place. That's my, like, thoughts on it. But your heart is in the right place. So I'm not shitting on them, and I'm not necessarily shitting on other people who have good intentions with it. But I'm just saying, as an autistic person, that's how it feels. Especially when people say directly to me, don't say retard. Although, they're doing this in response to Keemstar, but still. That's why it's so hard to talk about, like, ableism, right? Because a lot of it comes from a place of ignorance and not a place of malice. Which is very different than any other discrimination. Because, like, with gay people, right? It's not a complicated concept. You like men instead of women. So if you are homophobic, it's not because you don't understand, it's because you're just bigoted. But with, like, autism and other, like, mental disorders or whatever that are more complex, there is the high likelihood that it's more out of ignorance rather than a legitimate dislike for these people, right? So it's, like, different. Like, we still deal with, like, bigotry, but it's, like, unintentional bigotry versus what race minorities and sexuality minorities have to deal with, people who are just blatantly bigoted, so.